There's a new proposal making rounds in Nigeria's political space. A single 6-year tenure for president and governors. The idea was brought up by Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, a senator representing Abia North Central District. He says this will reduce the cost of governance, minimize distractions from constant elections, and allow leaders to focus on development. Now, that might sound appealing, but when you take a look across Africa, history tells a different story. Many nations began with the same idea to reform democracy, only to end up stretching democracy until it broke. Let's take Cameroon for instance. Paul Biya came into power in 1982. By 1996, his government introduced a new constitution that extended presidential terms to 7 years, renewable once. That once didn't last long. By 2008, another amendment came, removing term limits entirely. So today, Paul Biya, at 92 years old, is still president for over 40 years in power. We take a look at Uganda. Uganda tells another cautionary tale. President Yoweri Museveni came to power in 1986, promising to fix a broken system. In 2005, Uganda's parliament removed presidential term limits. In 2017, they went a step further, scrapping age limit that would have stopped Museveni from contesting again. So now, in Uganda, there is technically no barrier preventing a leader from ruling for life as long as they can win an election. So across Africa, the same story keeps repeating itself, just with different flags and faces. In Chad, Idris Deby ruled for over 30 years after scrapping term limits. In Equatorial Guinea, Theodore Obiang has been in power since 1979. That is over 4 decades of one-man rule. In Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso changed the law to stay longer. In Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe rewrote the system until the system pushed back. And in Burundi, Pierre Nkurunziza's third term almost tore the country apart. So this pattern isn't new. It is a familiar African script. Begin with reform, end with rule for life. And that is why we must be careful in Nigeria. Every dictatorship in Africa began with good explanation. They all started with just one amendment: for peace, for progress, for stability. Because democracy doesn't just collapse in one day. It dies slowly. One adjustment, one reform, one extension, and that is it. So a 6-year tenure might sound harmless or even helpful. But if the system that holds leaders accountable is weak, then what we are creating is not a reform. It is a runaway. That is why Nigerians must be cautious. If leaders can't deliver under 4 years, what difference will 6 years make? Especially when institutions are weak and accountability is low. Without reforming corruption, transparency, and election integrity, a longer tenure only gives politicians more time to fail, not to perform. History has proven to us that tenure extension rarely strengthens any democracy. They stretch it until it tears. So, Orji Uzor Kalu calling for a 6-year tenure isn't a reform. It is a rehearsal for self-interest. And if we do not draw the line now, we will keep calling ambition reform until democracy becomes memory. It's a truth at a time. Take care and have a nice day.